This video is part of my favorite YouTube series, New and Must-Have Crafty Supplies, where I check out some of the latest supplies that are available, try them out, and share the ones that I love with you. Today's video is also a Destash giveaway video. I have more items that I need to clear out of my craft room so that I can make room for new ones. So if you have a current US address, please watch all the way until the very end and I'll give all of the details on how to enter to win. But for now, let's take a look at some of the items that I chose this month for the new and must-have crafty supplies list. First up, I chose the Tim Holtz for Ranger Distress Spritz. These are a new product in the Distress line, and I've chosen 8 colors out of the 12 that are available. You can get a full set, or you can do like I did and just buy what I thought were the bright colors. So you can see that the bottle is maybe a little bit slimmer than, say, the Distress Oxide Spray, and that's because it is a lower price point at $3.99, and it is 1 ounce as opposed to 1.5 ounces. So just a slimmer bottle and a slightly different nozzle as well. But you can see that there's plenty in there to play with and create a bunch of different cards. So of course, you're going to have to kind of prime the pump first, just push on the nozzle a couple of times, and then one push like this will get you a spritz look. Now, this is what it is intended to be, but you can also do full coverage like I just did here. Or you can have some on your glass mat and pick it up like a smush or a wiping through the ink there. So there are many different ways to use this spritz. I am just scratching the surface here, but look at all the shine that is included, and it is in the worn lipstick look. So you get those beautiful distress colors, which means that they'll play really well with your other distress items. So here I'm ink blending an A2 piece of white cardstock with worn lipstick Distress Oxide ink, and then I'll spritz it with the Distress Spray in worn lipstick. So you can see it's a very similar color. Now, because the oxide oxidizes with liquid, it will definitely do that a little bit, but you'll still have that same color that mixes in and creates that shine. You can also obviously mix different colors. So here I have the picked raspberry on top of all that worn lipstick, and that creates a gorgeous effect as well. But really what the amazing part of this is just all of that shine. So I wanted to show you the colors that I got. That was worn lipstick. This is picked raspberry, and I'll make these swatch cards with a spritz at the top and then full coverage at the bottom. That last rusty color was spiced marmalade. This was fossilized amber. Here we have twisted citron. Now, I wanted to show you in the light because when you spray it down, it almost looks brownish, but then when you tilt it in the light, you can see that beautiful twisted citron color. I also have peacock feathers, Uncharted mariner, and wilted violet. So just a real beautiful rainbow of colors, which made me think, we need to create a rainbow background, of course. So I have the 2 pinks up in one corner, then the spiced marmalade up in the other corner. I'll go a line through all of that with some fossilized amber, add in a little bit of twisted citron, peacock feathers, Uncharted mariner, and then at the very bottom corner and at the top corner, I'll add some wilted violet. So that was just letting the spritz do its work. I did heat set it a little bit just so you could see it more quickly, and check out all of that color and shine. It almost looks like it has texture as well, but it doesn't come off in your hands. Next up, I have the POSCA pen. It's a silver paint pen with a fine bullet tip. And I've been experimenting with paint pens a little bit because of the difference between them and gel pens. And I like the way that the paint pens stay on top of all the coloring and inking that I do on my cards. I also got a set of Spectrum Noir paint markers in champagne, and they have 3 different sizes. I think probably the smallest one is one that I would use the most, But if you're coloring in something like a little piece of chipboard or something like that, that larger bullet tip would be great, or the chisel tip. This is the Lawn Fawn Rainbow Ever After 6x6 pattern paper pad, and I just love those colors. Next up, we have the Pink and Main Foilables. Now, these are the Spotlight Foilables. You can see the spotlight color in the center, and then it kind of fades out or fades in to a different color on the edges. And so these are actually toner colors, so you can use Deco foil or Pink and Main foil or Picket Fence Studios foil, anything that's not the hot foil plates foil, you can use with those foilables. So let me show you what I mean. This is the Picket Fence Polka Dot Palooza Fabulous Foiling Toner Card Fronts. So you can see these are patterns and designs with black toner, and I'm going to run them through with toner foils. So I have my Fuse foiling system here. I'll run them through and then I'll peel off that foil and then I'll place it down on one of the Spotlight foilables. So I'm using the same piece of foil that I used on the black toner design foilables, and I'm placing them on the Spotlight foilables. And when I peel those off, you can see all of the foil is now placed onto those toner foilables. And these are just absolutely gorgeous with the different colors for the Spotlight. The next item that made this month's list was the Brutus Monroe Rose Quartz Gems. Now, I just saw these in the bottle and I thought they looked really cool, so I wanted to give them a try, and I do love them because they have this funky irregular shape. Here's a bunch of the backgrounds that I created either with the Spritz or with those foils. I'm going to start with a Picket Fence die set that is for creating shakers and one of their foam rectangles. It's a little smaller than 4¼ by 5½. So when I cut out my window, I will try to do it in the center of that panel that I created with the rainbow spritz, and I'll cut it out and then glue it down to some acetate. Once I have that ready to go, I'll place the foam that I've also cut out that same circle with on top. And then if there's anything hanging off, I'll just trim it. Now I'll remove that protective background that's on the foam. Now you can see I cut a little strip and then put it at the bottom so that it would stay nice and even. And then I'll pour those Brutus Monroe gems right into that circle window. So now I have the foam exposed, the adhesive is exposed, so I can just place down an A2 piece of white cardstock in the back, and I've created my shaker in just a couple of steps. That's what's really nice about those rectangular foams from Picket Fence Studios. I'm using these Spellbinders Happy Birthday Wishes from the Out and About collection, which has a happy, a birthday, it has a shadow for each of them, and then the letters are individual, so you can place them down, or you can do like I did and cut out a little bit around so that you can have one whole birthday with the letters cut out of it placed on a white background there, and then just add in the little B and D and A spots so you can really see what that word is saying, and pop those up with some foam. But the best part is the gems and those spritzes and how they go together. I forgot to mention that the foilables are a little bit smaller than 4¼ by 5½. They're more like 4 by 5¼ and they do that so that when you run a piece of foil over an A2 piece of black toner design, it's easy to line up on the foilables because it's a little bit smaller than your foil sheet there. For this card, I'm using the Skateboarding Terrier from the Out and About collection. Now, these dies are at a slightly lower price point because they're a little bit smaller or have fewer dies in the set, and they work with the new Platinum Scout, which is the smaller base for Spellbinders Platinum machines. So if you are just looking to have a smaller machine and only cut out smaller dies, these are perfect for you. Another set of dies in that collection cut out the word smile and hello and the shadow around it. I'm using the POSCA pen to put a little silver inside the little skateboard wheels and some little studs on the collar, and I just think it adds a nice little touch to this adorable adorable skateboarding terrier. For this card, I'm using another one of those foilable spotlights. So I'll mat it down on some Spellbinders Cosmic Sky cardstock. And then I also have the hello cut out. I mentioned this little die set. It says, one says hello, one says smile, and the shadow. And then I'm playing with the Luna Seahorse set from the same collection. You can see I placed a foam square behind the open cut eye and cheek and then popped them in there. So that was a really easy way to pop in little tiny die cuts, is to put a foam square behind it. There's a little fin that I cut out of some Spellbinders glitter cardstock, and you can put that right by the little rump on that seahorse. And there are also some items that you can accessorize the scene with. There's some kelp and rocks. I've popped up the seahorse as well, but I just love that foiled background for this card in particular with that aqua color foil. I think is perfect for the underwater look here. And then I'll use the Spectrum Noir paint pen and the POSCA paint pen to add a few little dots and accents here and there on that little scene that we've created at the bottom. But the seahorse is definitely steals the show. I did want to mention again the Spellbinders stacks. These are little boxes that you can place some of your items in to store them. What I like to do is die cut, say the night before, and place all the dies and the die cuts into one of those stacks. And then the next day I'll take everything out and adhere it all together. So this one is the Roller Disco Dottie, and it's a cute little pup. The dots on the pup get covered up on the back with a die that cuts out that weird shape. There's also a die for a collar, and there are dies for little boots that have skating wheels on the bottom of them. So skates for the little dog. So what you do is you can cut out the little wheels with some, say, silver mirror cardstock, and then adhere those little boots right on top. There's also a die that cuts out an ear and a nose for your dog, and then you can just, once those boots and wheels are dry, you can place them right on the little dottie. And I have that smile sentiment again. Now, this is one of those great ones for the My Sweet Petunia Precision Glue Press because it really helps me guide out a small amount of liquid adhesive for those tiny little die cuts. You don't need much more than that. I absolutely love the pattern paper background from Lawn Fawn and all the elements to that cute little dog. For this card, I'm going to use the Dancin' in the Rain die set. It is another die set from this great collection, and you can see you can cut out an umbrella. You can actually make it very easily with the dies, just every other color. So say like white and red or white and blue. I decided to ink blend those other spaces to create a rainbow. There's also a cute little duck. It has a wing, and you can see those legs have kind of big elements at the bottom. That's because it's going to hold on to little boots. So at first I saw that piece and I was like, I don't know what this is. It's the legs for the duck. Then there's also a beak that's on a round piece of cardstock so you can adhere it easily to the back of the head. There's also a little hat. Now, this element is actually one of their dancing elements, so it will swing back and forth when we put it together. For now, I've cut out kind of dark blue pants, yellow boots, and the yellow slicker. I'll take that little piece that goes right in the center of the umbrella and adhere that down, and then I'll pop up the umbrella exactly where I want it on my A2 white cardstock. Then I'll place down my little slicker behind the umbrella. It's hiding the person's head because they're facing with their back towards you. And then you can see there's a hole in the legs. Now that hole is where you place a small foam square. And then once you have it placed straight, you can remove the top protective layer and adhere down your coat or your slicker, and then your legs will slide back and forth. Super easy, like the easiest dancing or movement card that I've ever made. There's also a little puddle that you can adhere down, and the legs will still go around that puddle as long as you use a dimensional enough piece of foam. I cut out the hello letters and placed them kind of in an arc. I'll spritz a little Peacock Feathers Distress Spritz on some white cardstock, wait for it to dry, and then die cut out the little raindrops out of it. I'll place a few drops of liquid adhesive on the card itself, and then use an embellishment tool to pick up those raindrops and place them down on the little liquid dots that I created around the card. That is just such a cute little touch, and I love that they have all 4 of those raindrops together in one die so you don't lose a teeny tiny die. There's also a little bit of POSCA pen elements here that I added to the raindrops and to the puddle, and I just adore this cute little dancing card. The duck is just so adorable, and all those elements are so fun to create with. Next, I die cut some flowers from the floral spray dies from the Bayfair collection from Spellbinders. And I have them on a piece of paper towel, and I'm just using a little bit of spritz on each of those flowers. That one looked like full coverage, but mostly I'm trying to go for the spritz look, so they just look a little different than they normally would. Plus, they have lots of shine. I did cut down that piece that I shared how to spritz, how to smush, and how to do full coverage. I ended up just liking it as a background, so I'm using it here. I've popped up those flowers, and I have some of the flower centers cut out of gold mirror cardstock, and then a couple of flowers to tuck behind as well. I have the thank you dies from the Out and About collection that I've cut out of gold mirror and placed on a vellum shadow. I'd love to hear if any of these new items made your list for this month's new and must-have crafty supplies. And now on to the giveaway. If you have a current US address, you can enter this giveaway by filling out the Google form that is in the YouTube description box under this video. I have a large USPS priority mailbox, and I'm filling it with goodies. It looks like I might actually have 2 boxes worth. There'll be everything from stamps, dies, pattern paper from a mix of different companies. Most are just gently used, and they will be packed to the absolute rim. This is not a full box, so just know that I will be sending a ton of goodies out. Please remember that spammers love giveaways, so I will not be asking you to send me any money. I will not be asking you for your phone number. I won't be on Telegram at all, ever. So just be sure to fill out the Google form, and then I will contact you as a winner if you win by emailing you from my email address. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. The items, there's like a little fuzzy floating in front of me. I'm not going crazy. There really was a fuzzy.